guys, it's Nolan from TradeAndTrain. I'm going to go through a few different forex pairs with you. Might look at gold as well, and look at an index. We don't normally look at the FTSE, so we'll look at the FTSE. So I'm going to start off with dollar CAD. What am I seeing at the moment? Well, right at this moment in time, on the weekly time frame, what I'm seeing is these higher lows. Okay. Now, we're not really seeing higher highs as such because we've got this high here and this almost equal high there. But we're certainly seeing these higher lows, which is telling me potentially there is room for this to push up again and test this zone up here, which is round about, if we look to the right, around about 129, big number. There's also another big number not far ahead, and that's 1.3. But notice these higher lows. In fact, I'm just going to connect this low, and then we get this morning star pattern here. So that indicates to me that there is buying momentum there. Now, for the past few weeks, we haven't seen this chart really do anything at all. It's kind of ranging by looking at these candles. Now we do have the price of oil has been rocketing, and there is a correlation between oil and the Canadian dollar because oil is a big export from Canada. So price of oil is going up, so you'd expect the CAD to be strong as well. That's what you would expect. But technically, I'm going to break this down now. I'm going to go into smaller time frame and just show you what this looks like. Okay, so if we look at the daily, can you see it's almost a box range? We have our impulse from the trend line up, we have a consolidation, and I would expect this to break to the upside. Okay, we have an impulse, consolidation or a correction, I would then expect it to break to the upside. Okay, so this is actually, regardless of what is happening with oil, this is actually looking like very nice at the moment. Now, what would I like to see to happen for me to buy this? Well, I mean, like I say, I'll be looking to buy this, and technically, you know, 129 would be a decent price to come out of. We can see these tips of wicks here and this tip of the wick here going up into the 129.50 area. Well, this is 129.49, so there is potentially a little bit more room than 129. But what we can do is we want to be looking for the breakout from this box range. Now, the ideal situation is price was to come back down into the bottom of this range. Okay, because this is at the bottom of the range, it basically is support. This is where buyers have been coming in. This would be an excellent place to buy from if we got a buying opportunity, if we got a buy setup. We're not just going to buy blindly at this price, and it's, you know, it's coming into about 126.63, 126.64. There is the big number 126.50, which it's tested a couple of times by the look of it, but the actual lowest low here is round about this price here, which is about, if I say 126.60. So if price gets anywhere near this section, this price, then you should be looking at this very, very carefully, looking on a smaller time frame, maybe the 1 hour, 15 minute even, and then looking for that change of cycle. You're looking for an indication that buyers are coming into the market. You know, 1 hour traders, you might want to look from a morning star pattern, for instance, which is a 3 candle reversal pattern. We can see here price came into the zone, and then we started to see a sharp influx of buying. Okay, that was a clue there. Here, not so nice price action, but we've got the benefit of knowing that this little area of price is where buyers come into the market. So if price comes anywhere down here, then we know what to be looking out for. Now, that's the best case scenario, but worst case scenario, we start to break out at the top of the range before we come and test the bottom, or instead of testing the bottom. So okay, we could have made a low here and it could be breaking out now. So I definitely have an alert as well above this high, because that is the highest high. And what I'll be looking for is, you know, price to then continue making higher highs and higher lows on a smaller time frame. So I want a bullish close above this price here. I want to close outside of this range. Okay, then if we do, I can go to a smaller time frame, look for a smaller time frame pullback in correction and a bullish setup to go long, and then trade that into 129 stroke 129.50. So guys, what I would recommend, and this, you know, this is just my opinion and it's for educational purposes, but what I would do, if you have the ability to on your trading platform, whether it's on MT4 or TradingView, I would be placing an alert above this high here, looking for the breakout, and I'd also place an alert down here just in case we drop into this zone. But I am looking for this to push up, like I say, into 129 towards 129.50, so somewhere in that zone. So it's looking like it wants to break out at the moment, you know, potentially here a double bottom, as you can see. So we might see this 128 big number broken and price not come down to this zone, but we shall see. The market does what the market wants to do at the end of the day. But you know, alerts are set, nothing for me to do now until one of those alerts goes off. Really simple. What else? Euro pound. Let's have a little look at Euro pound. You know, a lot of traders that I know have been trying to go long on this particular pair, and I'll show you why. And I'll show you why I think they're wrong, actually. Because we've got this channel, we've got resistance up here, we've got 1 touch, 2 touch, and just extended it across, and we've got this support here. Okay, so price has come down into support. We've had this engulfing buy candle breaking these lows and a nice push to the upside. Okay, now we could class that as a first impulse, and what is happening here as a correction, and then we've got the thought that, you know, we'd get another impulse and potentially come back and test this resistance here. But if we look at the smaller time frames, this correction is, if it is a correction, just keeps going on. There is no change of cycle yet on this particular bit of price. In fact, earlier on today, it looked like it was going to break out. In fact, it did break out. If I just show you this candle here, we had a bullish close outside of this zone, and then in the next 4-hour candle, it just totally reversed and closed back within. Now, this leads me to believe that we are still in a downtrend, and we will see price make a new lower low. Okay, we're making lower highs, we're making lower lows. Now, this high here is lower than this high here, so in fact we are still in a downtrend on the 4-hour. And until we break above 8400, this is in a downtrend. Okay, I won't be looking to buy until we break above this price here and we start making higher highs and higher lows. So there is potential for this to make another move down. So daily, I'm just going to zoom out. I really want to look at this on the daily or the weekly, doesn't really matter, but we've got these lows, look, and all I've done is connected this low here, brought it across, and we could be looking at price to come into this support which I've drawn. Okay, we've got our downtrend, potentially going to make a new lower low, come into this zone here where I've connected this low, and we've got this intersection here. Okay, it's about 82.62, somewhere around there, and that is where price could come into. Now, if it does, I'd be very, very interested in buying from there. Okay, so I mean, on the shorter term, there's a potential for a sell opportunity here down into this zone here, but at this zone, be very aware that price could just reverse, and that could be the start of a big move to the upside. Okay, at least back into this channel resistance here, but it might even break higher because it's support on a bigger time frame. You can see where it's bounced here. If we can get that bounce there, we could lead to a fairly decent move to the upside. But like I say, at least to the top of this channel. So euro pound, looking as though we're going to make another low. If we do, I would expect it to break this low here. I suspect there'll be a lot of stop losses below this low. Break that low, take out those stop losses. Like I say, this zone here, around about 62, 63, anyway, you know, somewhere around there. Be very, very aware of what could happen. We could just stop and reverse. So I'm actually going to place an alert around there. Okay, but at the moment we've still got that nice downtrend going on, so there's a potential here to short this into this zone. Okay, so this isn't ready to go to the upside as far as I'm concerned yet. Now, if we don't come into this zone, like I say, we break above 8400, then it's a different story. I'll just be looking to buy then on a correction. But my bias is that this will drop all the way down here, and then we're going to start to see the buying come in. Okay, so that is euro pound. Euro Swiss, not euro pound Swissy. We've actually got a sell on this. We actually sold, this was an end of day trade that we took last night. We actually sold this at 125, so we're 12 pips offside at the moment, but I'm going to show you the bigger picture, if you like, and show you why we are looking to sell this market. Let's have a look on the, well, yeah, we can start on the weekly. Firstly, weekly, we've got this descending channel. We've got a high here, extended it across, and we've also got a third touch here. And we've also got, as you can see, this area of resistance, which we are rejecting. Okay, and that's where we touch the top of the channel there. Now, 4 hour, sorry, before I go on to the 4 hour, I've obviously got a bias that I am looking for shorts on this market because we're at the top of the channel and we are in a descending channel. So it would make sense at the top of the channel to look for price to start to sell off. 4 hour, hopefully you can see it's very subtle, but can you see that we were making higher highs here, and now we're starting to what we call roll over. We're starting to see the bias change from buyers into sellers. Now this potentially could be the next lower high. We made a high there, lower high. This potentially could be the next lower high. So let me just, if I can find the right drawing tool, maybe that. You know, we are doing something like that. Okay. Buyers are gradually dying out of the market, and we are seeing sellers. Not only are we getting this high, a lower high, and potential lower high here, but we've made a lower low. We actually closed below 125 yesterday for the first time in a while, a daily close. So yeah, sellers are slowly taking control of the market. So we are looking, well, we are actually short this market. Like I say, we're about 13 pips offside. We sold it. We had a sell limit last night for the end of day traders at 125. Stops above these highs here, well out the way. So what could you look for potentially? Well, I'd look for an hourly close below 125 again. Straight away I can see this little hourly support there and this candle wick here. So let's get the old horizontal ray. We've had that big push up today since Swiss franc sell off, and then we're getting these inside candles, and that momentum has just stopped. I think potentially look out for a bearish close below this section of price, preferably, yeah, which is actually about 125 exactly. If I was to put this on 125, oh, I actually got it on 125. How spooky is that? A bearish close below 125 on the hourly, 4 hourly, could pave the way then for further downside in line with what is going on here. Can you see this move down, correction, move down, correction potentially, and next move down? So keep your eyes on this. We're already in it, like I say. Maybe you want to set an alert just below 125, 1.25. And like I say, if you get a bearish close, then that could pave the way for further downside. And remember, this is quite a big pattern we are looking at. So first targets for us are these lows here. Can you see? Support, resistance, support, support. So price comes into here, that's our first target. Second target, these lows here. Okay, but when we do come into this area, we're going to take our first targets, and we will put in our stop to break even, as well as banking some money. So keep your eyes on that, and for price to break below 125. Couple more charts. We'll look at gold. I think gold is near a top, well, at least before a correction. Well, this very, very, very nice impulse here, which started close to the end of January. Now some people have that drawn in. Some people have this drawn in as well, I've noticed. I look at different traders and always looking for, okay, well, yeah, that looks interesting, or no, that doesn't look interesting. But what looks interesting to me is, okay, we've had this move here. This was the first impulse here, from this point here up to this point. We then corrected, we then had another impulse up to here. Now what is interesting is if you fib from the bottom here to the top here, which was the impulse, we come in dead on the minus 27% fib extension. And that is the high of the move, and that is when we start to correct again. So my thought process is that potentially we could do that again. If this was the correction, this was the start of the impulse from here to here, we could draw a fib from here to here and use the minus 27% fib extension as a potential area where this could be a top in the market before another correction. So let's take the fib, let's draw it. So all I'm doing, guys, if you don't know how to use fibs, is I'm drawing a fib from the start of the impulse, the start of the move, to the end of it. Okay, it actually pulls back into the 78.6% retracement. Very, very nice. And we haven't reached the minus 27% fib extension yet, but it's around 1919.56. Now that lines up with, or just about with, this high here. I think it might just be above it, but if we were to draw, we are in that kind of range now, but we're not quite at that minus 27% fib. So there's potentially, on a smaller time frame, potentially another move to the upside into this 1919. We're at 1903.29 at the moment. So if I just leave those fibs in for a second, we can see that momentum is to the upside. There's certainly, I wouldn't say any momentum change. The buyers are still in charge of this market. We're actually bouncing off this 20 moving average. So there is a potential here for this to come up into towards 1919, 1920, but then I would be looking potentially for this to stop and reverse. Okay, so is there a setup at the moment? Well, there isn't a great one for me, reward to risk wise. You know, you could potentially put your buy stop above this 4-hour candle, stops below here, but then you haven't really got the reward to risk. So if you're going to trade this long, you're going to need to be trading it on a smaller time frame, if I'm honest with you. Now there is a potential low, higher low there, but it's not my cup of tea really to trade gold on a 15-minute. It's not my cup of tea at all. In fact, I normally stick to 1 hour and above. But, you know, just to point out that potentially we are reaching a top on gold. So if you are long gold already, you can think about taking profit or putting your stop loss into profit, taking profits off and leaving a little bit of the trade on. But potentially I would be watching this zone for price to stop and reverse and a correction to take place. So that is my thoughts on gold. Watch that 1919, 56, 1920 zone potentially for a top of the market. And last but not least, the UK 100, FTSE 100 chart. I don't look at this that often, to be honest with you, but it looks interesting to me. Now we are seeing the indices sell off at the moment. So it's a correction, what we believe is a correction period for the indices. It doesn't look like a big change of trend or anything. Nothing like this, which is when COVID basically came into the news. And but look, it's amazing how you'll see this on all of the indices. It kind of recovers. That's what the indices do, and a lot of people are just bullish on the indices. They only look to buy. But at the moment, I think we could see a little bit of further downside on this. We can see that on this weekly chart, the price can come into that zone between the 50 moving average and the 20. Occasionally it will touch the 50, bounce off the 50 there. Look, it's coming between that 50 and the 20. It's had a little bounce off the 20 there, but potentially we could drop a little bit more before we start to see the next impulsive move to the upside. So like I say, some people just won't sell the indices, and I understand why, because the higher probability, if you like, is with buying the indices. But of course they need to be in an impulsive movement to the upside before we can start doing that, and we're not seeing that at the moment. This has actually moved a little bit lower than I was hoping. I'm basically going to give you a sell setup. A sell stop below this low here would have been the next move, and I believe that price will come down and break this low, because can you see we're making lower highs, lower lows, so I can see this coming down. So further shorting on the FTSE, potentially this is the 4-hour time frame. You'll have an evening star pattern here, 1, 2, 3. Have a look at if the reward to risk is there, but I'd be looking to short towards these lows here. Yes, we've had that low there, but anywhere in this zone, if I was just to place no, that's the wrong one. We want the short trade. So I think we could be coming into that zone there, and potentially if we sold from below that candle, but it's already started moving, there might be a 2% trade, but that looks as though it's going very, very nicely. You can see that momentum is to the upside there, and we're slowly starting to change or shift momentum into sellers. Prices come into the moving averages. It started to sell off, so I would be looking for price to break this low and come somewhere into this zone. Where it's going to come exactly, I don't know, but we could use the weekly time frame, like I say, to give us a zone anywhere between the 20 and the 50 on the weekly. Price could stop and reverse. So keep your eyes on this. You might find like I say, the 4-hour trade has really gone as far as I'm concerned, because it would have been a sell stop underneath this candle low here. But you can potentially look at 15-minute or hourly time frame, looking for a small pullback into the moving averages. Like we have this move down here, we pull back into the 50 and then start to move down here, we pull back into the 20, have this little move. You might be able to find a smaller time frame correction to get yourselves into the market, but I'm looking for this to make, like I say, another move down in between the 20 and the 50 exponential moving average on the weekly, then potentially looking for longs to start to happen. Alright guys, so decent bit of content for you there, about 25 minutes I think, yeah, 25-26 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there's something there that you found interesting and that you can relate to. And yeah, let's have a great week, and we will see you again in the next video. So you take care. Bye.